Hello and welcome to In 20 with me, Roshan Narayan. Now, if you're watching live on YouTube, thank you very much. Do hit the subscribe button. And if you're watching the highlights on our Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook page, thank you very much. Because if you do so, you'll be joining me, at least for the next 20 minutes, talking to a couple of friends of mine. Today, it is the man, the machine. Touch, hold, engage. I hope I got it right. Marc Lee, thank you so much for joining us. Did I get it right, or are you going to crucify me for that? Did I get it right? Please say I got it right.
Mate, I would have known I'm a winger, so I didn't get involved in that stuff.
Okay, Marc, before I proceed, rugby is one sport. I'll be man enough to say that I'll always think about 2 or 3 times before I even started that sport because it's just brutality with finesse. And I found this clip of you in action. I'm going to make you watch it, and then you let me know what you were thinking when it happened, all right? So could you please play this video for me? Thank you very much. You're not going to break me in half, are you, Marc?
So that's what actually happens in the changing rooms after when we win. Happens all the
time. But by the way, you are built like a tank. You have your own, you're an instructor as well, a trainer as well, correct?
Correct, that's correct.
Okay, we will talk about that a bit later on. Let's forget about that video. Because that is just something.
Hey man, that's a good video.
That was actually quite funny. I think it's going to go even more viral after this show. But something that went viral, maybe in your life, because there's one thing playing for a club, there's one thing playing for fun with your friends, and there's something altogether when you represent your country, and that's what you did at the Commonwealth Games. What did it feel like to represent Malaysia?
Oh, it's an amazing feeling, especially at the Commonwealth Games. I've never been to a Commonwealth Games before, and the environment is like no other. You first come into a village, all the athletes share facilities, free food, free gym, free transportation. And then when you go into the stadium, there's 70 to 75,000 people cheering you on. I've never played in front of a crowd that amazing and that before in my life. And the fact that, look, I think it's common knowledge that we don't do so well in the Commonwealth Games, but the Scots, they love an underdog. And so every time one of us Malaysian folk got the ball and could run it, and made a half break, they'd be cheering for us, and that was such a great feeling.
That's unbelievable. I mean, perhaps, hopefully, if we have more support here in the local scene, just not from the fans or not from the government, but professionally as well, from the organization itself that runs rugby here in Malaysia, things could get better. But you just spoke about the pride. I mean, you were born here in Malaysia. I mean, you did migrate, but you did come back and you did wear the jersey with pride. But then something happened. 3 days before a tournament, you decided to walk away from the sport, at least from representing Malaysia. Could you tell us what happened?
Well, perfectly like what you said, pride. I didn't actually have that much pride putting that jersey on while I was involved in that tournament. I didn't feel like I was doing the jersey justice. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but when you put on a jersey, no matter what jersey it is on, especially a national jersey, you pretty much are going out on the way I see it, I'm pretty much going out on the battlefield to die. Like I'm going to war. And I did not feel like that in that campaign. I didn't feel like I was doing my nation justice by putting that jersey on. I know a lot of people wanted me to put it on, but it's just, I didn't feel like I was doing it justice. And I knew that there were other players in the camp that would die to put that jersey on and to play on that field. So I'd much rather them put the jersey on and fight for a place and play in that game. So, yeah.
But this feeling didn't creep in overnight. You've been at this sport for some time. You've been representing Malaysia for some time. What killed the fire?
Oh, look, there was just probably the way things were run by I guess you could say people up top. And things that I didn't really agree with, things that I didn't really sit right with me. I'm a huge man on principles. You can ask anyone that's trained with me before. I'll never shortcut, and the fact that there were a lot of things being compromised, it wasn't really the type of team and also the person that I am. So I don't really want to be involved with it. I know I let a lot of people down. I know I let a lot of people down, especially my teammates. But at the moment, it was something that I knew that I had to do to, I guess, make a stand.
You say you let your teammates down, but I don't think that's the case, because when you stand for something that is not right, that needs to be changed, you're actually doing a whole lot good rather than bad. Because, I mean, just judging from the pain in your voice, I can sense that, it was painful for you to leave at such an, awkward moment. And I think a lot of people, I'm not going to mention names, made you out the bad guy because you let the country down.
Yeah, like I said, what that wasn't really. I don't really focus too much on what happened on the outside in terms of what the media was saying. That doesn't really bother me too much. What bothers me was the people that I've been training with for the last kind of 2-3 months, and I felt like I let them down because rugby is a team sport, and within any team sport, you don't want to let your teammates down. But at the end of the day, I think that a lot of them understood, and like you just said, make a stand for the greater good.
Okay, I'll read out these 4 words for you, and you tell me what they mean and why they played a very big role in you leaving the national team. Professionalism, togetherness, accountability, and respect.
Yeah, so those words were, I didn't come up with those words. They were pillars that the coaches came up with. Professionalism, togetherness, accountability, and respect. And if you read the report that I wrote to the high performance unit, all those 4 words, all those 4 principles were, I guess, broken more than once within the campaign. So it's kind of like, what do you stand for if not your pillars?
Okay, I won't get into trouble, because, I mean, anybody that does come out and speak suddenly disappear, from the sport altogether, and you're treated as a leper. And I say that with a lot of respect, and I don't mean to disrespect anybody who's suffering from the disease, but it is the case. You become an untouchable. And then all of a sudden, instead of focusing on the problem, hey, this fellow Marc, he's a troublemaker, huh? See what he's doing? He's quit the team. Did anybody from your squad, send you a message and say, after it all settled down, Marc, we understand why you did it?
Oh yeah, look, I was very transparent to my teammates before I'd done that. I had some big conversations with people within the team, and like they said, they weren't happy, but they understood the reason behind it, and they felt as well that there was a bigger meaning to the picture. Like I said, something for the greater good, and for anyone that, I guess, questions that, I'm still involved with rugby. I'm hugely involved with rugby, and I do want to see Malaysian rugby grow, because the potential here is just outstanding, and we could have been so much better. And I guess that's what hurt me the most as well, is because I see so much potential, and yet when you're held back by things that you can't really control, or then it's really sad. It's just sad because it's the players that miss out.
That's fair enough. Just say we live in a scenario whereby certain people disappear. Like I mentioned, the word disappear is key here. And you're put in a situation whereby you can change a few things, come up with some new regulations, add in professionalism and things that are near and dear to you. How do you go about changing a system whereby, say, maybe in 10 years, because realistically, that's how long it takes, in 10 years, Malaysia can be competing at a very high level?
Well, I think the first thing that needs to happen is a really good rugby development program, a really, really sound rugby development program where you can see a pathway from, I guess, being 15 years old and being scouted at high school, and a pathway where you can go up to the national level. I found that a lot of, just by talking to rugby players, that once they hit college, once they finish college, high school, then there's no real rugby avenue. There's only a select few clubs, and at that, even the clubs themselves, they don't have a standardized rugby schedule. So a rugby program, like in football, you've got, let's just say you've got clubs playing week in, week out. You might have that round robin and then a semi-final and a final, and you might do that for 3 to 4 months of the year, if I'm not mistaken. So rugby needs that as well for it to grow. So rugby development program and a consistent rugby schedule where you know that you're going to get standardized rugby week in, week out, so that players can grow and develop. It's no good having, tournaments like a 4-week tournament here and then another 5-week tournament 4 months later. It's not. You're not going to get any sustainability or consistency.
And if it is followed correctly, you'll have careers such as yourself. How is the sushi in Japan? Because that's something I really look forward to in my life when this whole thing, travel ban, ceases to exist. I'm just going to fly to Japan. I'm like, mushi mushi, stuff like that. You had a really good career in Japan. What was that like?
Oh, super grateful to have been able to play in Japan. I myself never thought I'd have rugby as a professional. And I kind of fell into it in 2010, went over to Japan. And I'll tell anyone this, that the hardest thing is actually keeping the dream alive. Yeah. Once you crack it, or once you make professionalism, the hardest thing is that you find out how brutal it is up there. The fact that you are just a pawn on a chessboard. If you don't perform, then you're out the door. So keeping professionalism and keeping the dream alive is the real key here. But I love Japan. I love the people there. I love the sushi there. The food is amazing. Bro, the culture is something else as well, man. It's when you go there, you'll see. I recommend that you go visit Tokyo, Osaka. If you love snowboarding, head up north. It's powder snow, mate. Powder snow.
But how different was it? I mean, you played for a couple of clubs there, and you mentioned you were playing at the highest level. How brutal is it for, and I don't want to use the words foreigner, but an import player, how difficult is it for you to go to another country, such as yourself, and try and establish yourself to be a first-team regular?
Yeah, I guess you could break the question down into a few different segments, because you have foreign players that are All Blacks, that are, Springboks, that are Australian Wallabies, and so they're already established. And so when they come to a top league environment, people will really kind of automatically give you that respect. Whereas someone like myself and Dugro, we really, I feel, have to earn the respect a lot more, because we are Asian passport players that have come into an environment where there are already Asian players, right? So the mindset, I feel, and this is not with all teams, this is just with some specific individuals, but sometimes the environment can be like, oh, well, how come they're over here when I'm, as a Japanese person, when I'm already here and you could utilize me? So you really have to earn the respect a lot more. I wouldn't say foreign players are treated better. I think that the Japanese are really good at keeping everyone at the same playing field. They respect everyone, but just in terms of playing capability, I feel like we have to earn our spot a lot more.
Is that the same case over here in Malaysia? If you walk in and you come from somebody else, or somewhere else rather, you have to earn your spot, or you're treated differently?
Hard to say, mate. I'm Malaysian, so I wouldn't be able to tell you.
But there was an article some time ago, I think it was the Malay Mail, and you mentioned the fact that certain people do get are treated differently. How do you stamp that out, whereby you make everybody able to be performing on the level playing field?
Oh, it's pretty simple. Which is, so clubs do have foreign players and or semi-professional players, which they will usually remunerate over a certain tournament. Absolutely fine. But I guess what coaches have to do is actually inform local players that, look, just because they're employed by us doesn't mean that their position is not up for grabs. At the end of the day, you've still got to put the best players out on the field. I think that's important. No matter what rugby team you play for, the coaches have to realize that if you can do the job, then you should be on the field, essentially.
And hopefully that'll work out sooner rather than later. But I think apart from football in this country, every other sport at times, they do struggle with finding finances to pump back into the sport. How far do you think it's from, for at least for rugby, how far do you think it is from whereby a sponsor comes and looks at the sport and goes like, okay, there's a future there?
Yeah, look, there's people support football, right? And right, the people support football, and there's a lot of money in it. So I think there's a lot of money out there to be had for rugby. It's just that I guess there has to be transparency and accountability into where that sponsorship goes. I've got no idea what happens up top. They're just words. They're just words that have been thrown around in conversations that I've had with people. And I think business, because at the end of the day, businesses aren't going to invest if they don't see ROI. So why would they if they can't see where their money's being spent? So I'm just saying that if there is transparency between everyone, then I think rugby can prosper. And I think rugby can do great things, because Malaysia has the 4th most registered rugby players in all of Asia. Oof. That's a crazy stat, right? I don't believe that when I first heard it, and I said, "Are you sure?" So I looked it up, and sure enough, we're the 4th most registered rugby players in all of Asia. So therefore, we should be doing way better than we are in the world rankings. So why aren't we?
That's a powerful statement. I think the key word there is transparency at all levels to make sure that the sport itself is pushed and made better for everybody, be it a young man or a young girl who wants to pursue their dreams. How have you been keeping busy over the past couple of months? I know it's been crazy once you left football. I know we spoke about this a bit early on. You're giving out classes as a personal trainer as well as for rugby as well.
Yeah, so the transition between player to coach can often be difficult. So I've just been
wow,
oh mate,
Marc, what are you on? What do you just have 3 or 4 calories a day, and then you just pump iron the whole day or something? What is that? How do you get that body?
Photoshop,
I would like
mate.
to take
Photoshop.
I will Photoshop your face. I can't do that. I can't even challenge you, because I know you would just like bury me in the ground if I ever try and tackle you or anything like that. But as you were saying, apart from Photoshop, how do you keep yourself busy?
Yeah, so that I work. I train a lot, and then I also take clients. I teach them into some high performance strength and conditioning. I do a lot of things. So personal training is one side of the academy that I own or that I run, and also coaching, which is rugby orientated. Can also be with any sport that's over ball, like touch or rugby league. But sometimes people just want that extra edge, and I'm willing to give you my expertise and also give you the knowledge that I've gained over the last 10 years as a professional. And that comes as a holistic approach, because I don't think it's just people can train all the time, but sometimes they wonder, why can't I just get over that little boundary? Why can't I just get over that little hurdle to make it to the next level?
And if they want to get in touch with you, how do they do so? Do they just follow up on Instagram with you?
Yeah, just follow up on Instagram or email me at info@theacademy.my. But yeah, Instagram has been a great platform where I can share things that I've learned and also provide value to viewers as well. I think that's super important, providing value.
And it's super important for me to remember the next time I have somebody who's been playing rugby, never to wear a football jersey, because I know it's a cardinal sin. Whenever I've been out with my friends who play rugby, and once I accidentally wore this football jersey, and they're like, weak. And I'm like, what? What was that all about? Okay, my friend, thank you so much for being on the show. It has been an absolute pleasure. I hope you do get an opportunity to transform rugby over here in Malaysia at all levels and put us on a platform that the sport deserves, just not in Asia, but globally. Thank you so much for joining us, Marc.
Thanks so much for having me, man. It's been a pleasure.
Likewise, don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and do hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel. Till the next time, bye-bye.